The church bells tolled softly over the sleepy little town, their echoes lingering in the crisp morning air like a gentle promise. Emily stood behind the heavy oak doors of the old stone chapel, her fingers clutching the bouquet so tightly that the petals trembled under her grip. Her breath came in shallow, uneven gasps, a mixture of excitement, fear, and something else she tried to push aside. The memory of the whispers, the stares, the judgment she had felt all her life. Today, she would walk down the aisle, but she couldn't shake the anxiety that the world would notice her limp. Her gown was exquisite, ivory and flowing, a testament to months of planning and countless fittings. The fabric pooled around her feet like clouds, hiding much of her leg, but not the subtle tilt, the uneven weight distribution that made each step a small battle against pain and uncertainty. She had practiced at home, over and over, but standing here now, with the eyes of nearly 100 guests upon her, the rehearsal felt meaningless. Her father stepped closer, his hand gentle on her trembling shoulder. He was older than she remembered, his hair graying faster since the accident, lines etched deeper across his face by worry and love. "Are you sure you're ready, sweetheart?" he asked softly, voice trembling slightly, betraying his own anxiety. Emily forced a smile, though it felt brittle. "I've been ready my whole life, Dad," she said, swallowing hard. "Just, not for their stares." He squeezed her shoulder. "Then let's show them what they've been missing. You're stronger than anyone here will ever understand." She nodded, trying to take comfort in his words, in his steadfast presence. The heavy doors swung open, and sunlight poured into the chapel, illuminating the worn wooden pews and the flowers carefully arranged along the aisle. Gasps rippled through the crowd, some curious, some judgmental. Her mother dabbed at her eyes, trying to hold back tears. The memory of all the whispers, the people pointing or muttering behind lace fans, returned with an unexpected sting. A few women leaned toward each other, whispers threading through their polite expressions. "Poor thing," one said, voice low and sharp. "She should have worn flats," murmured another, eyes following Emily's uneven steps. "Can you imagine limping at your own wedding?" The words stung, a bitter undertone to the soft music playing in the background. Emily pressed her lips together, forcing herself to ignore them, but her chest tightened as each step sent a tiny shock of pain up her hip. She forced herself to keep her gaze on the man waiting at the altar. Jack. He stood there, calm and composed, his suit immaculate, a soft, reassuring smile tugging at his lips. His eyes met hers, steady and unwavering. He didn't care about her limp. He never had. It had been 2 years since the accident. A drunk driver had run a red light, leaving Emily broken, bedridden for months, her future uncertain. Doctors had doubted she would ever walk properly again, but she had. Slowly, painfully, she had reclaimed her mobility, with Jack by her side every step of the way. He had been her rock, her constant. When friends had faded and pity had surrounded her like a shadow, Jack's love had remained unshaken. He had shown her what it meant to be seen for who she truly was, not what she could or couldn't do. Now, as she took another careful step, pain radiating through her leg, she almost faltered. Her father's grip tightened, anchoring her in the moment. "Steady, sweetheart," he murmured. And then she saw her, the little girl in the front pew, no more than 6, her white eyes filled with wonder. She was not judging. She was not mocking. She was smiling, completely captivated by the sight of Emily walking toward the man she loved. That innocent, unfiltered admiration gave Emily strength she didn't know she had, a reminder of what truly mattered in this moment. The whispers behind her grew louder, crueler, slicing through her concentration. She could feel the weight of their gazes, the silent judgment, and her throat constricted. She fought to hold back tears, telling herself that their opinions did not define her. But each step was harder than the last, every movement a negotiation between pride and the sting of old insecurities. Halfway down the aisle, her body threatened to betray her. Pain lanced sharply, forcing her to pause, to grip her bouquet like a lifeline. The guests' murmurs shifted into quiet mutterings, some sympathetic, most judgmental. She heard the whispered commentary, like small knives, "She shouldn't be doing this, how embarrassing, I can't believe she made it this far." Her heart pounded, her vision blurred with unshed tears. And just as she felt herself teetering on the edge of collapse, a shadow moved across the aisle. Jack stepped down from the altar, his polished shoes echoing on the stone floor, and the whispers ceased as all eyes turned toward him. He moved with purpose, unwavering, each step carrying the weight of certainty and love. Gasps filled the chapel, some of awe, some of confusion. He reached her side without hesitation, his eyes locking onto hers, full of warmth and reassurance. "You've walked enough," he whispered softly, bending down to lift her effortlessly into his arms. His strength was steady, and the panic that had clawed at Emily's chest melted away. She felt safe, protected, loved. The bouquet slipped slightly from her fingers, petals scattering across the aisle, and in that moment, it seemed as if the world paused. The mockery, the judgment, the whispers, they all dissolved into silence. The crowd watched in stunned silence as Jack carried her the rest of the way, her face pressed against his shoulder, tears streaming freely now, not from pain but from relief. Their eyes followed him, some of them shamefaced, some of them quietly moved. The little girl in the front pew clapped her hands softly, whispering again, "She's a princess." Emily's chest swelled with a mix of pride and love, realizing that the world's judgment meant nothing compared to the man who held her in his arms. Jack's voice was steady, calm, a soothing anchor. "I've got you," he said, smiling down at her. "All the way." And as he carried her forward, Emily understood, in a way she never had before, that love did not care about limps, weaknesses, or imperfections. It only cared about the heart. Every eye in the chapel followed them, some with regret, others with admiration, but none could take away the truth. The woman who had been mocked, who had feared judgment her entire life, was now radiant, supported, cherished, and unstoppable. The rest of the aisle didn't feel long. It felt like a triumph, a small victory over a world that had underestimated her. And in Jack's arms, Emily realized that sometimes love doesn't just stand by you, it carries you the rest of the way. The barn glowed like a golden jewel in the fading light of sunset, the wooden beams and hay-scented air transformed into a magical cathedral of celebration. Strings of fairy lights stretched between rafters, twinkling light-captured stars, and the soft hum of music filled every corner. Laughter, warm and unrestrained, floated above the clinking of glasses and the gentle shuffling of guests. Yet amidst the jubilation, it was the memory of the morning's aisle that everyone carried in their hearts, replaying the moment Jack had lifted Emily as if she were weightless, as if the world itself had bowed down to her courage and his love. Emily stepped carefully across the barn floor, one shoe in hand, the other foot resting gingerly on a soft pillow. The pain that had haunted her earlier in the day had dulled slightly, replaced by the lingering thrill of triumph. Her dress swirled around her legs in gentle folds, catching the soft light from above, and for the first time in years, she felt entirely herself, beautiful, strong, and loved, without apology or hesitation. Guests approached her cautiously, some hesitating as if unsure whether their words could match the magnitude of the morning's moment. Yet they came, one by one, each offering smiles and tears, words of admiration and heartfelt apologies for the whispers and judgments of the past. "You looked so beautiful," a neighbor whispered, her own voice choked with emotion. "And the way he carried you, I've never seen anything like it." Others nodded in agreement, some wiping their eyes, their pride in the community replaced with awe at what they had just witnessed. Emily's chest swelled with quiet satisfaction. She had endured their doubts, and now they could only watch in wonder. Jack returned from greeting a cluster of guests, his polished shoes leaving soft impressions in the straw-covered floor. His eyes immediately found hers, and he strode toward her with the same steady confidence he had shown all morning. His dark hair was tousled slightly from the wind outside, and a small smudge of dust lay on his cuff, unnoticed except by Emily. He smiled, the kind of smile that made her knees weak and her heart sore all at once. "Tired?" he asked gently, bending to take her hand and raise her to her feet. Emily laughed softly, shaking her head. "Exhausted," she admitted, the sound warm in the cozy barn. "But happy." Jack's eyes softened. He brushed a stray lock of hair from her face, his thumb lingering against her cheek. "You should have seen their faces," he said quietly, almost to himself. "All those whispers, all that judgment, gone in a heartbeat." Emily's laughter wavered, turning into a tearful smile. "You made quite the scene, Mr. Daniels." "I'd do it 1,000 times, he replied simply. "Because carrying you, it wasn't about making a scene. It was about showing them what I see every single day." Her heart ached with gratitude and love. Every glance from Jack reminded her that her worth was not measured by her limp or by the opinions of those who could not see beyond it. His love was not conditional, nor was it performative. It was real, unwavering, a quiet force that had sustained her through her darkest days and would carry her through every challenge yet to come. The music shifted then, soft and lilting, a gentle waltz that beckoned them to the center of the barn. Jack extended his hand, offering her the invitation of dance. Emily hesitated, her gaze flicking to her leg. "Jack, I don't care how we dance," he said, his voice calm and certain. "I only care that we do it together." Her heart swelled, and she allowed him to guide her into the center of the dance floor. Guests formed a loose circle around them, holding their breath as the couple began to sway. Her steps were uneven, her movements cautious, yet in Jack's arms, every hesitation became a grace note in the rhythm of their love. His hands were firm at her waist, steadying her with a gentle confidence that made her feel invincible. The barn was silent except for the music and their quiet laughter, a cocoon of intimacy in the midst of celebration. Emily rested her head against Jack's chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart, a steady drum that spoke of protection, devotion, and unspoken promises. Around them, the guests watched, some moved to tears, others simply captivated by the purity of the moment. Even those who had once whispered judgment found themselves unable to look away, guilt mingling with awe as they witnessed what true love looked like in motion. The little girl from the morning, perched on the edge of a hay bale, clapped softly, her small voice breaking the quiet. "She's a princess." Emily smiled, pressing a gentle kiss to Jack's chest and whispering, "I feel like one." Jack laughed softly, the sound rich and full, and bent his head toward her. "You've always been my princess," he said, his words a secret meant only for her, though the whole barn seemed to lean closer to catch them. Today, everyone else just finally got to see it. They moved together across the floor, not as two people performing for an audience, but as one living a shared moment of triumph. Every misstep, every uneven shuffle of her foot became a testament to endurance and resilience, a quiet defiance of the limitations that had once tried to define her. The music swelled, and Emily felt the warmth of the barn, the glow of the lights, the gentle rhythm of Jack's arms around her, all of it weaving into a memory she knew she would carry forever. As the song drew to a close, Jack spun her gently, lifting her slightly to place her back on her feet, and the barn erupted in applause. Some wiped tears from their eyes, some clutched hands in astonishment. Emily's heart raced, not from exertion, but from the overwhelming tide of emotion that had marked the day. The mockery, the whispers, the stares, they had all vanished, replaced by admiration, respect, and undeniable love. Emily looked up at Jack, her eyes shimmering. "Do you think they'll still talk about me after today?" she asked, her voice soft, uncertain. Jack chuckled, brushing a tear from her cheek. "Of course," he said warmly. "But this time, they'll talk about how beautiful you were, how brave, and how loved you are. And no amount of whispers or judgment can change that." She smiled, finally feeling free of the weight she had carried for so long. Her limp, once a source of shame and fear, now felt like a badge of honor, a symbol of perseverance and courage. In Jack's arms, on the center of the dance floor, she had reclaimed herself entirely. The world had looked at her with pity, but she had emerged victorious, not just surviving, but radiant, cherished, and deeply, completely loved. As the evening deepened into night, the barn filled with warmth, laughter, and the gentle rustle of fabric, Emily realized something profound. Her limp no longer defined her, nor did the judgments of others. She was not broken, nor was she fragile. She was whole, strong, and gloriously alive. And as she swayed in Jack's embrace, she understood the truth she had always known deep down. Love is not about standing on your own 2 feet. It is about finding someone who will carry you, guide you, and lift you, every step of the way, no matter the weight or the pain. And tonight, in the golden glow of the barn, Emily knew that she had found exactly that.